Gulnar. So, Gulnar, opening question for you is you're the host of the Flipside podcast, where you find the flip side to multiple women. And today, the sides are flipped and you're on the guest side. How does it feel?
Oh my God. In fact, I'm very honored that you chose the flip side and threw it back right here because if ever I was to plan a finale, I think I would have done that. But thank you. So thank you for this. No, I think, yeah, let's get started and have our conversation. There are a lot of flip sides that we can talk about. And I'm waiting to have that conversation with you. So let's go.
Super. So, with my research, I obviously identified a lot of flip sides that exist with you. Even as the person you are today, right? You're a mom, you're a business partner, you run a couple of things, you've been a corporate person, you've done a lot of things in your life. What I want to understand, Gulnar, is, and I saw your LinkedIn, it said you were the CEO at GV Inc. Think of yourself as a person, the person that you are as a business. What is it that has shaped GV Inc. or Gulnar work as the person she is today from her early days?
Wow. So the thing is, when I kick-started with my career, it was all about finance, and I was this young girl who just wanted to prove it to the world that I've got a lot going on in the top story here, and I'm brimming with ideas. So it always led from degree to degree. So after completing my bachelor's in business administration, where I specialized in finance, I moved on to my master's in business
Right.
administration, when the marketing, of course, is something that I had to take up because the market had crashed at that time. So
Hmm.
I left with the finance option that I wanted and this dream of becoming an investment banker. So I chose marketing, and brand management was one book that I had. The 12 chapters in brand management is what kind of gave birth to GV Inc. The name then later on, of course, changed to hashtag marketing, something that my
Right.
mom shared with us, and it was trending. It was the need of the hour. And I
Hmm.
realized that what I'm doing for one brand, I could do it for tens and thousands. So that kind of gave birth to me setting off my journey as an entrepreneur. And in fact, I remember very clearly. It's really funny. So I had left a lot of messages to all my college friends and school friends, everybody that I knew that, hey, I've taken the plunge. And
Hmm.
message followed to taken the plunge to start my own, entrepreneurial journey and have my firm called hashtag marketing. And
Hmm.
ended up leaving me messages saying that, oh, are you getting married? Because taking the plunge obviously meant getting married. And I said, no,
Right.
in fact, it's the complete opposite. I'm far away from the word marriage.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that is what gave birth to it. And I'm truly grateful to also my ex-bosses who I'm still in touch with because, they really pulled me up a lot and taught me a lot on ground marketing that had to
Hmm.
happen. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. And that young girl, just like I said, had dreams in her eyes. She wanted to prove a lot at that time. So yes, there was a lot of rebellion as well, which is what I was telling you. In every decade of my life, I think
Right.
I've had my moments of a lot of learning. And
Hmm.
with the support of my family, here I am, and hashtag started. In fact, also to share with you,
Mm-hmm.
that time nobody really knew how marketing was working out, and Facebook and Instagram was not there. Facebook was something which was very new. So you won't believe it. Every day at 7 a.m., my father would sit with me and we would go through, Excel sheets, Microsoft PowerPoint. We would study through to make presentations, make this. So yeah, I'm
Correct.
actually grateful to, kind of learning the ropes on the go. And then, of course, my brother also joined in. So that's how both of us kind of took the reins, and we met a lot of people, spread the word. So the starting was, in fact, something that I really truly cherish because, when you have your office, which was the basement of our house, by the way, the
Yeah.
yeah, my study table was my first work desk. So we started from a very humble way, and then of course the company just flourished, and I'm truly grateful to the clients and team.
That's sweet. Okay, I have a question. So when you started HTM, I'm sure these were the very, very early days of marketing, right? Like you mentioned, nobody quite understood what's exactly happening, what is marketing to begin with. And you came from a finance background. So what was that switch like from saying that, okay, I did my finance, I did my studies, whatever. I will now drop this thing and move to a different field altogether, which A, nobody understands, and B, is very, very nascent in the country and the atmosphere you were living in that day and age. And what was that like to justify the choice or explanation of sorts?
True. So, so I was also one of the foremost female players at that time. So we
Hmm.
started in Delhi, Gurgaon, and I remember there were four of us, together who started, and the other three were male friends of mine, and I was the
Hmm.
female player. And I'm really grateful that my brother kind of stepped in because he also, I call him, the backbone of the entire company. Because for me, it was all about kind of learning, going out there and talking, which of course today loosely we use the term PR, but PR also is trickle down to journalism,
Hmm.
relations. You have your bloggers, influencers. I mean, everything today has become, this term is very loosely used, but where we were studying it, where we come from, it is hardcore public relations. It could be online reputation management through the press or, print, electronic, outdoor media, you name it. So for me at that time to take a switch between finance and marketing, one, I think it was also very natural because my father and my mother, they had started Arclights, which was an advertising firm back in the day, which was also again way ahead of its time. So I
Hmm.
having my dad's creative expertise at home, and then my brother had also had a stint with JWT. So,
Hmm.
these two men in my life who, obviously had that exposure and experience, and I had all the theoretical. So, my brother till date has saved my name as Gul Nerd on his phone because of how much I used to study. And it was all honestly, digging deeper and overcoming your weaknesses, your inhibitions, and just getting out of your comfort zone because I was a very, very shy kid and I used to be extremely shy. In fact, in my Buddhism meetings, so I practice
Hmm.
mindfulness Buddhism. I must share this with you because in my Buddhism meetings, only the first row could hear me. The 10th row
Oh.
not hear me and they would keep saying talk louder. So I think even with my practice where spiritually I was very in fact grateful to the organization and also to all my friends. All of us kind of joined, a few of us together, so I think that exposure and step by step how I worked on myself to get louder so that the last row can hear me. I think
Yeah.
those kind of measures also helped me in going for my pitch meetings, talking to clients, gaining that confidence. So today,
Hmm.
put me anywhere, even if you put me in front of an electric pole, I'll stand and I'll make it. So today, of course, a lot of people say, "Oh, it comes effortless." No, it's not effortless. It's
Yeah.
no, almost a decade of practicing, and I had in fact established this in Delhi, in the capital, with my brother. And then when I moved to Hyderabad after my marriage, I had to
Hmm.
start and build this company from scratch. So
Correct.
again, I mean, the culture is a huge difference. The language is a barrier for me, but then again, you learn and you overcome all your weaknesses, and I think that's been the magic side of it too, for me to kind of give myself a little pat and say, hey, you've just tapped into your true potential.
Yeah.
You don't know how vast it is, right? So
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, I
Of
think
course.
it's all the experiences that kind of come together and
Hmm.
you're on your own.
Well, yeah, you touched upon confidence and speaking up and being more present,
Yeah.
taking more space as a woman on a thing, right?
Yeah,
And you also mentioned that you had to find your way to it. You were not a natural when it comes to owning up space and being
correct.
a loud voice in the room.
Correct.
I know a lot of women struggle with that. Speaking up in meetings or just friend groups, being in front of strangers, being in spotlights,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. All of those things. You have obviously found your way. If there was somebody today who finds themselves in a similar place, they're shy, not outspoken, don't like presenting themselves too much to the world, how do you find a balance of, okay, this is probably not my nature, but my work demands it? So, what is the middle ground that you've probably found and learned about?
You know, Anshika, off camera, when you and I were connecting, if the first thing that you had also shared that there's not too much about me or my daily life, what I do on Instagram, which is very intentional. I like to keep my family and my personal life that. But
Hmm.
in terms of gaining confidence and learning on the job and kind of shedding off everything, the baggage that we call it, as women, we hold on to so much, and there's so much emotional baggage also that we carry. And
Hmm.
along with that, confidence and being a woman at workplace, and how aggressive can you be, how submissive you need to be. So I think all of these questions do come in. I've had instances where in my corporate life, in my jobs, I've had men compete with me. I've also felt how it feels. So then, of course, it all kind of boils down to people management. So back in the day, I didn't realize it. I didn't know how to coin it. When I started this firm, I mean, I started with, from my salary, I think the last job that I held, for my salary, I had about 10,000 left. And that is the only investment that was made at hashtag marketing. And that was also to pick up a laptop for one of our graphic designers to kickstart. So literally started with nothing here and built it on in terms of, when you speak of the courage that one needs to show, like I was also sharing with you over our call, that, it's also where there's a will, there's a way, and you keep
Right.
creative ways to kind of put yourself out there. Yes, it has been very challenging even for you to go and make that pitch to a client. When I had to start the company from scratch in Hyderabad, I had meetings
Hmm.
for 4 hours explaining what I do. For everybody, marketing was such an alien concept. No, but why do we need it? The product is getting sold, the service is happening, all right. But how do you build a brand? How do you stay in mind? So I do give all of this credit also for me to having learned it and to apply it practically. A very small example which could help a lot of women out there is, you need to observe everything and everyone around you. So today I may come across as a woman who talks a lot, and she's got everything under control, and once she starts she's going to end the meeting. But before that, there is also the silent homework that I do, where I'll observe everything. I'll observe everything about you. What is the brand being spoken of? How is it that people are perceiving you and your brand or company, whatever you want to call it? And thereafter, when you have creatively thought of ways in how I can plug in my services, is where I step in. But yes, in terms of, how you need to kind of keep building on it, I think please back it up with a lot of theory, and then give yourself enough chances. Tell yourself that, I mean, it's not just one meeting, it's not just one talk. It's much,
Right.
man is a social animal, and we're all very fortunate to have each other. And ours is a practice ground, right? So it's okay if it didn't work out with one person, it'll work out with the next. That's provided you are consistent and you're consistently working on yourself, and the sky is the limit.
Yes, Kularsi also mentioned, you just mentioned, right, your 4 hour meetings, and that just reminded me of reading somewhere that your team also calls you Marketing Brahma. What has led you there?
Okay, like I said, I think it's all the observation, and then spur of the moment, all the creative ideas kind of just come in. Honestly, I mean, till date, I always say that it's the team that has made me, and they're a lot better than me in many ways. But the bird, I think, was also coined for the website. But yeah, they've been very, very sweet. But yeah, the credit goes to them. It's also, like I said, years of practice, and today we're all making it look effortless and easy.
That is very, very lovely. When it comes to effort, and I'm sure I want to make a segue into mommyhood. I know you're a mom now, you're also married. And when you started this thing, it was very, very a different stage of life. And you said each decade of your life, you've probably been a different person with
Yeah.
different kinds of worldviews. How have you evolved through the years from not being a married person to being a married person to now being a mom and now running a business with a full life of your own and being a person of your own? How has that change happened and what have you learned about the world or yourself?
Firstly, I think in every decade there's been a lot of learning that has happened
Right.
in my case. Also, a lot of planning, thought. So, I come from a family where we're all planners. Everything is planned very well, especially if you look at our kitchen timetable as well. I mean, my father would have planned the weekly menu for you. Structure that I've been raised in and I come from. So I had the decades also planned. So between 20 to 30, it was a lot of learning in terms of education. Even if it was my spiritual practice, you won't believe it. I mean, I was taking Buddhism exams. I've almost studied, I think, 100 books. And when I say study, I mean sit down and, literally mark out everything that has moved you, or even if it's a small sentence, you kind of pick that up and you apply it in your life and see if it's made any changes. So that's the kind of rigorous training I had in my 20s. And being a very, very emotional person and, shy, sensitive, yes, all of that was there. In fact, I remember when I had started my entrepreneurial journey, I'd met my best friend before, and she, lives in the US. And after a year, when she saw me, she said, "Hey, I don't see that emotional Gulnar anymore. I see a poker face." And I said, "Yeah, babe, I've learned that. I've learned how to not smile
Hmm.
disclosing the deal, or when the client is rejecting me, I've learned how to not show my emotions and put everything, on the table." So I think this kind of rigorous training happened in between 20 to 30. And then, of course, when I got married and I had my boys, I'm a boy mama here. They're a riot. So, it kind of throws its own challenges at you. And after marriage, also a lot of women kind of take a pause, or motherhood, they feel that, hey, life is going to shrink now, it's just going to come to the home. But I feel in my case, I'm very fortunate to also have a partner where, he's also supported and pushed me enough to expand my life that much more. So I
Hmm.
30 to 40 again, it's just about, work. And now the next decade as I enter, I really want to just focus on my family. So I think it's also the planning that I've done on giving my 100% to a particular thing, and moving on from there and learning how I can keep, getting better at it. But I want to share this with all the working mothers out there and married women that, life does expand if you change your perspective. I know that it will expand because in my case, like the podcast happened after, hashtag marketing.
Right.
Just a new feather that was added. After my first son was born, I was setting up business in the south, in Hyderabad, and
Hmm.
my second son was born. I'm kickstarting with putting myself out there. So I mean, I think both of them have given me fresh new starts in my career.
Okay. Gulnar, you mentioned that marriages have to be relationships or institutions or whatever way you look at it that allow you to expand as a person and do more. And I'm sure a lot of that,
If you choose the right partner.
if you choose the right partner, right? And I was coming to that. A lot of it has to do with the partner and the person you're with, right? And you've found a lovely partner for yourself. What is your perspective, opinion on the idea of the right partner for a woman or for anybody, obviously? But as a woman, what did you sort of look and hope for or plan for if you planned for it?
Again, very planned. I had a list of qualities that I wanted in my man. So my husband has everything but a sense of humor. I have that sense of humor to kind of balance it out. But I think women today are very, very aware of what they need and want in a man. It's not
Hmm.
just about, blindly following it. I think our parents and, all the old customs, cultural, of course, there can be a debate on this, on how many get to choose their partners or otherwise. But I think that freedom is there. And
Hmm.
even if it were not to be there, like I said, I'm sorry, I am going to make it sound a little corporate over here, but run it like people management, time management. I think it boils down to that even inside your home. It's not just at your workplace where you have to think about how you're going to manage your bosses or your peers, colleagues. It's the same thing at home. How is it that I'm going to manage my husband, my father, brother, my in-laws, my kids, So everywhere, I think for a woman, there are so many hats that we have on, there are so many roles that we play. Why always just limited to that one person that we get married to and it just becomes the be all and end all of our life? No, you are
Hmm.
the center of your universe, and you need to see how you will juggle all of these different roles that you play. And along with that, I think, your true partner or whoever is, courageous enough to hold your hand and withstand all those storms with you, I think that is your man. And that's your companion for life.
Well, that's a lovely answer. Gulnar, so next question. Let's say you're talking to a young woman who's thinking marriage, about to get married very, very soon. What advice do you have for her on the topic of not losing herself in the marriage?
You've just mentioned that yourself right now, but I recently, in fact, got this advice very recently from a friend where I was contemplating about, because I was a mom for the second time and I'm clearly in my new mom era still. So I was just thinking that, hey, I hustled and I did it all with my firstborn. Now with my secondborn, should I just put my feet up and, just be at home with him? Because mom guilt is real. And
Yeah.
in this case, it just kind of stemmed in a lot. So very sweetly, in fact, then this friend of mine, she just walked up to me and she said, hey, listen, you never quit because you have an identity. And
Hmm.
all of us women, when we're choosing to get married, the identity shifts from us to the man or his family. And
Correct.
it was just one sentence and it stayed with me, and I keep thanking her every time I meet her because it was such a wake up call for me where I completely see, when you become a married woman and you become a mother, it's very easy for you to forget yourself. And it just becomes either about your man or about your kids. But here, that one, statement kind of just made me revisit all my years of hard work and struggle to be where I am today, to have that identity
Yeah.
of my own. So why should I give that up just because I'm getting married?
Hmm.
In fact, I feel today men would respect you that much more. You would respect yourself that much more if you stick to your true self and you have your strong identity in place.
Fair. We were just before the podcast talking about how, a lot of people stop working post marriage and by choice often. To me, that is a very, very questionable choice. I do not understand it. I do not see myself doing that in the future. But what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
Truth be told, even I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Because when I got married, I thought, oh, this is my final stop, my destination. Because Indian women, since
Hmm.
we are born, raised, marriage is the be all end all for us, right? For all
The
our,
big plunge.
yeah, that is the plunge. They feel if their daughter is married, she's settled,
Hmm.
it. Now we are also happy. She supposedly is supposed to be happy whether the man is good or not, but let's just take it in our stride because this is just how it works. But no, I don't think that's how it needs to be taken as, because it is not your destination. Your destination is, you don't know what your destination is. I can get very spiritual on this, but
Yeah.
it's a journey, and a man is just a part of your life. It's not
Hmm.
the end. In fact, a lot of them have also turned around and said, no, but your life can start after marriage. When you get married, then you would see if you want to work. If your husband is working or has a family business, why don't you join him? No,
Hmm.
if you want to join his work, if you are adding something to his work, why not? But if it is to be done for him to decide if you should work or not, no. I don't
Yeah.
think is something that we need to be taking that as a call. We're all educated women today, and even for the ones who are not educated, I think there are a lot of households where women are contributing financially. And apart from taking care of everyone physically, mentally, emotionally, there is a lot that goes on. And I think a woman kind of brings all of these people together in a home and even at work.
Got this. Talk to me about motherhood and how you have evolved through the both times you've been a mom. Your first boy and the second one.
Oh God, I call one of them my life, one of them my soul, or joy and happiness. You name it. I'm one of those crazy, obsessive, possessive mothers. But they are the center of my universe for today. Even though I keep saying that no, women, you need to be the center of your universe. But I think one smile, one little request from there, and my heart melts, and I'm all yours. But no, apart from just being extremely grateful that they chose me as their mom, I think it has given me a lot of strength. I think they've taught me how to be the strongest version of myself and also to be a better version of myself. Because emotionally, if you're down and out, one smile from them, I know it kind of picks me up. And life's challenges thrown my way, I know they are there, and I got to keep going on and being the best that I can for them. So there are only pluses over here. I am not even talking about the sleepless nights or the moments where I feel like pulling my hair out and go to bed. Because I literally chase both of them every evening. One person, okay, go to bed now. The second one, then I get after him. But no, I think it's taught me patience, taught me all the qualities that I feel I was also kind of neglecting in myself. Because with that,
Mm,
what happens is that you kind of just accept you and you become very rigid. Okay, this is who I am and that's that. But when a child
right.
comes into your life, even if that's that, he's going to find a way on how to break that, discover a whole new part of yourself. So every day is a discovery with them, and every day is a moment of joy and learning, and you forget all of these tiny smaller details that we all get into, because we're all looking at the bigger picture always, and we're trying to tick mark a lot of our checklist pointers. But I think they make you pause, they'll make you reflect, and they'll just make you love life again.
On the same note, I know you talk about the idea of conscious parenting a lot. Tell me, introduce me to the idea of it. I'm not a parent. I often wonder about the fact that can young people who do not have kids have opinions of parenting? And I don't know. I don't know what kind of mom I will be if I were to be a mom. But I want to learn from you. What is conscious parenting? How come you arrived at it? And how are you practicing it in your life today?
So I call my firstborn a love child and
Hmm.
my secondborn a miracle child. And both of them have come at moments of my life, phases of my life, where I've had to again question, where is life headed?
Hmm.
There were a lot of personal struggles, and in midst of all of that, these two gorgeous beings have just come and chosen me as their
Yeah.
mom. And I feel that because I was also somebody like you, I did not think about kids. In fact, my firstborn is the first baby I've ever held in my life. So until then, I used to, in fact, feel very nervous. And I remember
Hmm.
the meetings also, one of the members, she came to me and she said, because you're so petrified of kids and because you're not liking kids, I was in the middle of kids and we have something called Cubs meeting. So she said, you will sit in the middle of all these kids and you will read a story to them. And
Oh.
I literally just froze and I said, no, I can't do that. I'm not talking to kids. I just feel it's going to get very overwhelming for me. But I think, again, that kind of practice made me also realize a lot of things when I became a mom. And the conscious parenting part, of course, I think I'll give the credit to my husband because he's constantly studying on how to be better and, how
Hmm.
and relearn everything that he felt that in his childhood he had to go through in terms of understanding how parenting works. And I feel that both of us, it took us a while to kind of come together and be on the same page because otherwise one would be looking London and talking Tokyo, and I'm the one who would probably spoil the kids, and he's the disciplinarian right there. So
Hmm.
we both had to kind of come together and understand how we put in our best versions and do what's good for the child and not carry our own emotional baggages and try and put all of that on the kids because it doesn't work anymore today. I think the generation also is very, very aware. They will see through you and they will tell you where you're wrong. So it's
Right.
not a generation like ours where we will shut up and listen to our parents and say, "Oh, you're probably right," but here they're going to question everything. And I think that kind of has also encouraged us to kind of dig deeper. And that's where I think conscious parenting has also come in for all of us.
And I'm sure it's a lot of learning on the job, isn't it?
It's an everyday learning process. I think, it's not just about motherhood. I think being a woman in itself,
Hmm.
there's so much that I have learned. I used to, be in awe of my mom and my dad and their marriage, their relationship. You had all these dreams growing up, and then when you grow up, when reality hits you, for example, my mom got diagnosed with ovarian cancer when my son was just a year old, and it was a shocker for the family, and we all really struggled, and I say battled it together because all of us were holding each other's hands, and it was one of the most trying, tough times for the whole family. And we lost her a few years ago. But that entire episode has completely changed me as a person and my perspective. And then along with that, I have these two kids, who are also trying to give me a new perspective because
Hmm.
have, them, especially my older one, because for him, his big mama, that's my mom, she was his be all, she
Right. Yeah.
was the center of his universe. And that's why I feel all of these trying times kind of bind us together. We all come together to learn. And that's the only way forward for a family, or even if it is a team in the corporate space, if I was to say it. All of us, if we're together, is when you all will actually improve and work on your learning to encourage each other to be better and move forward.
Right. That is a very, very lovely family that you have built for yourself. All of them together, and you also found a space for yourself in the corner of all of this, really difficult things going around for you.
True.
But yeah, Gulnar, my next question for you is: you are a big believer of obviously women empowerment, right? And each person has their own philosophy on what genuinely empowers a woman. I believe that education and the ability to make your own money is what changes the amount of control a woman has over her life and each decision that is to be made. What is your belief when it comes to women empowerment? What do you think is the bedrock of it all?
Education, like you said, but
Yes.
also I remember when I was studying and I had graduated, and that's when, typical Indian family would also think about marriage, getting ready
Hmm.
for it. But I wanted to obviously start a company, continue my career first, see where that's going, and then also choose the right partner for myself. I was hell bent those days that no, I'm going to choose my own man for me. I
Hmm.
remember my mother just holding my hand, and she was a woman of few words. So whatever she's ever said is it's kind of etched in my
Say
heart.
it. Yeah.
She just one day walked into my room, she was holding my hand, and she said two things to me. One was that, I wish I was financially independent. So
Hmm.
whatever life throws at you, make sure you are financially independent. And the second thing, when the company had kind of taken off, is when she had said that, you could have all the achievements, all the success you could enjoy, but you need to have a family to enjoy it with. You
Hmm.
can't be there alone. So you need to balance your life out in such a way that you have a good, supportive family back home to enjoy all those achievements and success that is thrown at you. And I've tried my best to balance my life out in such a way that if I'm at workplace, I'm equally that much more, in fact, with my kids. And
Hmm.
second thing is, when you speak of empowerment, why do I always want to encourage women to work is two reasons. One is to have a strong identity for yourself, and second
Hmm.
is to be financially independent. Because a lot of women take a lot in marriages because they are not financially independent, because they feel that they cannot financially secure themselves or their kids. And I feel that kind of atmosphere is going to only crush a woman's spirit. Because today, man is no longer just a provider. He doesn't want that. He also wants a woman who can provide, but at the
Hmm.
same time nurture. The lines are blurry. So, in this kind of a situation and the generation that we are in, I want to encourage as many women out there to have their identity, to be financially independent, so they don't feel less of themselves, they've not lost themselves in the bargain, and we're able to create a better future tomorrow for the next generation to come. Because
Right.
whatever emotional baggage that you carry, it's going to trickle down to your children. Your children are going to view you in a certain way. And
Hmm.
on that sadness, it kind of is, I mean, it is very true. We've studied constellations in spirituality. You talk about ancestral karmas. All of this
Right.
get passed on. I had my nani as well, my mom's mom, who always ensured and encouraged me that, you're going to continue working. In fact, I remember I gave her a call once and I was hysterical. I was crying, sleepless nights. I felt my husband was not understanding me. New baby, don't know anything about mommyhood. It's a very overwhelming time, and this was postpartum depression also that I was battling. So I remember calling her up and, telling her that, I can't do this. I can't keep up. How do I run a company and raise kids? And she stopped me right there and she said, in Punjabi, she said, if you can run a company, are you telling me you can't raise children?
Hmm.
I also, have these people in my life who've always given me the right advice at the right time and pushed me forward. So today I am in a position to tell you that, hey, if I did it, I'm sure you can do it, and I'm here for you.
Oh, that is so lovely. Okay, I know you have gotten a lot of great advice from really strong figures in your life. What is some really bad advice you've heard being given to women, rampantly so, that you do not agree with?
Plenty of it, especially, when you are working and people do see that this is a financially independent woman. A lot of people have turned around and also said that, don't work. You're going to make your man lazy, or you don't need to provide for the house or contribute for the house because he's going to turn around and take it for granted. And the stories continue. And I remember, in fact, in various conversations, I've also brought this up with my husband that, hey, I'm
Hmm.
contributing to, I'm doing this as well. People don't expect this from women. So there's a clear battle that, you're still fighting with the was and the is and what it's going to be like. And I think
Right.
that the day I kind of accepted the fact that, if I am in a position to contribute to my home and be a partner, an equal partner with my husband, doesn't that make me feel better about
Yeah.
marriage? It gives me a lot of that warmth and respect even from him. So what am I exactly battling here? The fact that women are just supposed to be nurturers and they should not provide if they're in a position to do so. Whereas here, I have a very supportive partner who, if he sees me, in fact, just lounging on the weekend, Monday morning, I know he's going to come and say, okay, you've had your break, now let's get
Gotta
back.
get up. Yeah.
So I guess you gotta really choose what you hear, what you feed your soul, and acceptance of your reality and the reality around you. I think that really has benefited me in many ways, and I think it's going to hopefully encourage a lot of women out there that, and you don't need to feel bad. If you're in a position to contribute, hey, celebrate yourself. I think you really need to honor and celebrate yourself because I think that is what is going to also make you feel secure and stable in life.
Mm. I also feel like I think it is the joy of my life to be able to support myself. It is so amazing that in this day and age, I can take care of myself by my own self and be a person of my own. It's the
You
most
know,
amazing feeling, honestly.
when they are calling up their husbands, OTP de do. because it's the husband's
Yeah,
credit. OTP de do.
yeah,
I've been in those rooms as well where I see a lot of women calling up to take those OTPs. And I just think to myself that you can do so much better for yourself. If you're
mm,
going to have that time over here, find a way, discover something. I'm sure your family is also, it's a known fact. I mean, when the families do start seeing the money come in, I'm sure everybody is going to kind of recognize the fact that you're confident
correct.
and honor you. I don't think anyone would say no to the Lakshmi that's walking in. So I feel so I feel all the Lakshmis that are due to walk into your homes, let's give them that platform to flourish.
Right. No, no, very, very fair, honestly. I do think, like, once women make their own money, I think they find a life of their own, which is very, very different from what they were probably raised to be. And that makes a huge difference in any woman's life.
That's not a reason for a divorce. In fact, I was reading up the other day that women who are working, who are financially independent, divorces are increasing because we finally come into our own. No, I don't think so. I think it's the men over there who haven't been able to appreciate, or the woman also who may have realized in her journey that this is not an equal partner here. So I think
Hmm.
the term today that we all need to use is equal partnership, and it's not about the give and take and who's putting more. There are days where I may not be able to put more, but my husband is, or there are days when he hasn't been able to do it, but I'm there. But it's a team, right? You're working
Yeah.
together to build that home, build that empire together. So yeah.
I love how you mentioned Empire. Talk to me about being an ambitious couple. What does that look like?
So I think we take turns, honestly, when it comes to ambition. Initially, in the partnership, of course, I'm going to call it partnership, I'm not calling it marriage.
Yeah.
But yes, intentionally so. I think we take turns. So initially, it was me, and with mommyhood, my priorities changed. But I think the ambition kind of transferred to him. This is all about building the empire I'm talking about. But the
Yeah.
ambition is also, one very sweet fact with both of us is that the ambition is also to be better and to
Hmm.
become better in terms of the qualities and values, and not just finances I'm talking about, but yeah, the
Correct.
values we're handing over to our children. So I think the ambition, what it is exactly, keeps changing with us every few years. And yeah, the priorities are intact. And I think if that foundation is very strong initially,
Hmm.
I think you will survive the storms.
That's so sweet. Gulnar, talk to me about. Okay, so one thing I personally read and care a lot for is women's health. I think that is one of the things a lot of women let go of or do not prioritize in the grand scheme of things. Could be work, could be children, could be family. But women's health systematically is very, very under researched. That is a known fact. But beyond that, we also forget to take care of ourselves. So, both fronts, right? A, what have you learned about taking care of yourself as a woman? And what advice can you give somebody if you were to give somebody some advice on health as a piece?
Wow, you've touched a raw nerve here because my only grudge with my mom throughout was that she just gave. She just gave to the family. And I think all the health concerns, also stemmed from how much she was just giving to the family. And I used to always keep wondering, where in this is she taking out time for herself? Is she taking care of herself? And of course, this is a typical Indian mother that is there in every household who's try to just, keep giving and empty your cup completely. However, I feel today education, as we discussed, which is the foundation for every woman today to know better, to do better
Hmm.
herself. And I'm not going to quote moments of, when even in the aircraft, they say, put the mask on you first and then on the person next to you. It's a question about how well you are managing for yourself to be able to manage your entire home or your company, at your workplace, your friends, whatever it is, that you're part of as a group, as a unit, as a community. We need to
Hmm.
individually first focus on ourselves. And if we lose ourselves in that bargain, like I mentioned, we will not be able to do justice or provide or do better for the next generation to come.
Hmm.
All the health problems that we see, I can even get down to breaking it off for you because I have also neglected my health for the longest time. I would be rather, having those 2, 3 hours of sleep the next morning, getting back to work, but I've been up the entire night with my son, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of a lifestyle, taking your body for granted, is something that is an absolute no for me today. Because I suffered in the middle. I did not have the energy to play football with my son or go and,
Mm.
So if I'm not okay, I know there are a lot of other things that I can possibly do with my kids or even be there for my company. We've got meetings, we've got shoots all day long, and it
Correct.
continues for weeks on end. So I will not be able to perform better in either of those roles that I've taken up for myself, and they form my identity, right? So when you talk about health, in fact, just this weekend I got my blood work done too because I'm working out, I am doing
Correct.
yoga regularly, I meditate, I focus on my breathing, I'm doing it all. Everything was a tick mark, but yes, the energy was again very low. Then you try to
Hmm.
be very spiritual also. Okay, who am I meeting? Is this person, draining my energy, or is this person
Right.
my energy? And you kind of put the blame on everything around you, but you don't focus on what's inside you. You know,
Correct.
blood work came. I was literally just sitting down with it and saying, "Oh wow, I didn't know I'm deficient here." And now I better take a supplement for it, or use
Mm.
diet, but I got to do both of them to support it. So I think health for us women, even when it comes to menstrual health today, if you want to take that 1 week off, please do it. Do it for
Mm.
yourself because your body demands that rest. It's not very clockwork how a man would leave for office at 9 and come back at 5 and switch off. A woman's brain is constantly working. You're
Hmm.
thinking about what to pack for tiffin the next day in the morning and what your husband may want for dinner. So you may have to order those groceries. The list is endless. Or your girlfriend's having a tough time, or your married friend is thinking of divorce. There are a gazillion things that go on in our brains. So we need to focus on our rest and recovery. And diet is something that is make or break. I never realized that. I did take, the teas and the coffees and the burgers, pizzas, and the in a meeting, you just kind of want to energize yourself. So you're thinking very short term, but the long term
Hmm.
game over here is for you to focus on your diet and have a complete lifestyle change. And in fact, I'm very happy with whatever Instagram is kind of throwing as news that the next generation, in fact, they don't even want alcohol as a
Yes.
giving them a high. I think so. Fitness is something that they're focusing on, and
Hmm.
we see how the earlier generation, it was all about, the home, the family. The next generation wants to focus on themselves. So I think
Yes.
collectively as a universe is, I think, supporting the community and the humanity ways of being better for themselves.
Okay, that was a lovely answer. In fact, I have noticed, at my gym also, I see a lot of young women coming in, a lot of young people in general. I don't see enough older women, and I wish I saw more of them. And I realize it's a lot of multiple reasons, right? Family, times, often apprehensive. But I
I,
wish they stepped
I
out more for themselves.
they've also termed it as women to just sit at home,
Hmm.
especially in the old age. I don't think we've advertised it enough. In fact, thank you, Anshika. You've just given me a good marketing idea here for some brand or something to show older women because I don't think it's been marketed enough to show that older women are also lifting weights in the gym. It's not just the youngsters
Yeah.
who come to show off their body. It's not just about showing off your body or
Hmm.
that six pack. That six pack is probably going to just make you stronger, or I hope it's making you stronger. But I would like to, I think, market a lot of older women lifting weights in the
Absolutely. I don't think we see enough older women in media,
Clearly not.
Beyond 60,
Clearly
you don't see the lives of women. They're just old aunties sitting in a corner. Where is their life? I never see that.
true. Or they just, they go for walks and they think
Yeah.
walks is going to be healthy enough for them. But yeah, I think I'm going to take this upon myself as an initiative that I think we need to market it more. So
Yeah,
maybe
I will be looking forward to it.
yeah, through our conversation, I hope everyone out there is seeing it. And women over 60, you can lift weights. Please go to the gym.
Yes. Yes, you can start with very basics, and I've seen a lot of trainers do a lot of work. Somehow my feed is on the right side of things. So Instagram shows a lot of these stories of, older women doing different fitness things, and I love it. And I want to see a lot more of that. But yeah. Okay, Gulnar, this is my kind of last question to you,
Yeah.
which is, what is the question you wish more people asked you that you never do, that they never do, and what is your answer to it?
Thinking about this, I think everybody thinks it's very effortless what I do because it comes to me naturally, but no one's really asked me how do I manage it all? How do I juggle it all? I think a lot of times that question kind of gets missed because when people
Mm.
You see a very sorted woman and everything is organized, but come and ask my husband at home the chaos or the emotional, all the waterworks that happen with my brother as well. That, one phone call will be made to him that, okay, now what do I do? But I really hope that people do realize that I do have that side, and I'm very blessed with all the men in my life actually who kind of keep egging me on this. So yeah, I think that's one question I really hope somebody asks, how do you manage all of it?
I'm sure support system is a strong bit of the answer, isn't it?
It's everything for me. It's honestly everything for me. And I really like that because in the field that I'm in, and like I said, I am an emotional person, so
Hmm.
I'm very blessed with the men in my life because they always give me a very logical perspective. And logic is something that does not come easy to me. If my
Yeah.
heart is it, and if you were my client and you say I want the moon, man, I'll find the ways to get you the moon. Or I, do a campaign that makes it very beautiful for you as the moon. But yeah, like I said, that logical perspective is something that I tend to miss. So I'm grateful to the men in my life who always are there to give it to me.
How lovely. Shout out to the men in your life.
Ah,
You're doing a good job.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Gulnar, any last closing things or thoughts that you'd want for the listener who has tuned in so far?
So sweet. I just want, if it's a woman, please make sure you never lose your identity and you are working on yourself constantly. People management, time management, this will make you financially secure and independent. Find opportunities, find ways to make yourself be better, do better. And if it's a man watching, I think honor the women in your life because this is decoding Draupadi, and I think we just did that.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was a very, very lovely episode. I think I wish a lot more women watched this stuff
So
and tuned into the good side of the internet, which is helping them find more girlfriends. But
absolutely. And,
yes.
women empower one another. And thank you,
Yeah.
Sanchika, for creating this entire platform for us because I see how we are cheering for each other. And yeah, so I feel woman for woman, right? We make ourselves strong.
Absolutely. I think the headline of this thing is going to be Women for Women.